Imagine this. A man walks through life with kindness in his heart, believing that goodness will protect him, that virtue is its own reward. He trusts, he forgives, he sacrifices. Yet at every turn he is met with cruelty, betrayal, and manipulation. The world does not love him for his goodness. It uses him. And so a haunting question emerges. Are good people nothing more than fools? Is morality a weakness, a tool for the cunning to exploit? Dostoevsky, the master of the human soul, dared to ask, when does virtue turn into self-destruction? And if goodness is punished, what is left? Dostoevsky understood something most people refuse to admit. The world does not reward goodness. In fact, it often crushes it. Why? Because the very idea of goodness is tainted by illusion. We like to believe that virtue is inherently powerful, that being kind, honest, and selfless will lead to respect, fairness, and justice. But reality does not operate on moral principles. It operates on power, survival, and control. In The Idiot, Prince Myshkin, the embodiment of pure goodness, is mocked, manipulated, and ultimately destroyed by the world. His kindness is seen not as strength, but as naivety, a weakness to be exploited. Dostoevsky was exposing an uncomfortable truth. Morality, when unguarded, becomes a weapon in the hands of the ruthless. Nietzsche warned of this too, calling Christian morality a slave morality, a system designed to keep people weak, obedient, and controllable. Carl Jung, in contrast, spoke of the shadow self, the darker, untamed parts of human nature that good people often suppress. But suppression comes at a cost. Those who deny their own darkness become blind to the darkness of others. They mistake cruelty for misunderstanding, manipulation for misfortune, and betrayal for accident. Here lies the hidden problem. True goodness is not blind. True goodness is not about being harmless, submissive, or endlessly forgiving. It is about understanding the full depth of human nature, including its brutality, while choosing to act with integrity despite it. But what happens when goodness is reduced to passivity? When kindness is mistaken for weakness? Society does not correct this imbalance. It exploits it. And those who refuse to see this truth become pawns in a game they don't even realize they're playing. And so, the consequences begin to unfold. You've seen it before. A good person, trampled underfoot by those with no conscience. The kind friend who never says no, left exhausted and unappreciated. The honest worker, passed over for promotion while the cunning one ascends. The loyal lover, betrayed by the very person they swore to protect. These are not accidents. They are patterns. The world does not pity the good. It preys upon them. In a society governed by dominance, manipulation, and self-interest, those who refuse to see reality for what it is become easy targets. The overly forgiving attract those who take advantage. The self-sacrificing become trapped in cycles of exploitation. The endlessly understanding never hold others accountable, and so they suffer betrayal again and again. And here's the most terrifying part. This isn't just personal, it's societal. History is riddled with examples of entire civilizations that fell because they mistook kindness for virtue while their enemies sharpened their blades. Those who believe in fairness assume that others do too. They extend mercy to those who see it as weakness. They give second chances to those who never intended to change. And in doing so, they make themselves disposable. Even neuroscience reveals the danger. The brain's reward system encourages altruism, but unchecked empathy without boundaries leads to burnout, resentment, and psychological self-destruction. Studies show that manipulators, narcissists, and predators instinctively recognize these traits and seek them out like wolves hunting isolated prey. This is the hidden cost of blind goodness. A life spent serving those who take, forgiving those who harm, and trusting those who lie. But is there a way out? Or is goodness destined to be its own undoing? The answer requires a rebellion, one that few are willing to undertake. There comes a moment when a good person, broken and disillusioned, stands at a crossroads. They can either continue down the same path, naive, exploited, betrayed, or they can wake up. But waking up is painful. It demands an unflinching look at the world, at human nature, at the self. Dostoevsky understood this brutal truth. To survive, goodness must not be blind. True virtue is not passive submission. It is wisdom forged in fire, kindness tempered by strength. The fool believes that turning the other cheek will soften the heart of the wicked. The wise person knows that sometimes the only way to stop cruelty is to meet it with unshakable resolve. To break free, you must abandon the illusion that everyone shares your values. You must learn to say no without guilt. To recognize that forgiveness does not mean enabling, that helping does not mean self-sacrifice, that love without boundaries is not love. It is self-destruction. History remembers not just the saints, but the warriors who protected them, the philosopher kings who balanced mercy with power, the revolutionaries who understood that goodness, to endure, must be willing to defend itself. This is the rebellion, not against kindness, but against its corruption, not against compassion, but against its exploitation. The world will not change, but you can. And when you do, you will not lose your goodness. You will refine it into something unbreakable. But what happens when a good person, once blind, now truly sees? And then it happens. The veil lifts, and you see the world, not as you once wished it to be, but as it truly is. The naive goodness you once clung to has shattered, but in its place, something stronger has emerged. Wisdom. You realize that suffering is not a test, nor is it a cosmic punishment. It is a force, neutral, indifferent, that shapes those who refuse to be its victims. You see that true goodness is not self-sacrifice, but self-mastery. That kindness is not weakness, but a choice, made only by those strong enough to wield it wisely. Dostoevsky's greatest revelation was this: to be good in an evil world is not to surrender, but to resist. Not blindly, not foolishly, but with clarity, strength, and the courage to face darkness without being consumed by it. The world does not make good people fools. Good people make themselves fools when they refuse to see reality. But you are awake now, and once you see, you can never go back. So the final question remains: will you step forward into the fire and forge yourself anew, or will you fall back into the comfort of blindness? The choice is yours.